it was really exciting in a lot of ways. But there were several people that were straight up triggered.
You've been pastoring since you were born.
Oh my gosh.
Call both of y'all.
Bro, I'm trying to be pastoral and a human, and even that can be a trigger.
Yeah.
Your mind, I was shocked. I was like,
listen, me too.
Yeah.
But in a good way, like, and I mean, maybe we can save it for the joint, but like,
oh yeah, we good.
But
it's
like,
recording, right?
Yeah,
because I didn't want to. My thing was like I didn't want to force. So like I just gave that context as far as like the decision.
Yeah.
As a husband, leading my family.
Yep.
Like I didn't want the decision to be based upon factors
Correct.
of like solely on you.
Yep.
But even like you wanting us to join based upon like knowing my history, like because some people just wanted me to join for like my gift.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So it was important for me to have like somewhere for our family.
Absolutely.
But even to that point, like we talked about it like a little bit, but it wasn't like a lot because I didn't want it to be like, I felt like when we did the church and we pastored, there was portions of that where I can own that the Lord was trying to probably reveal stuff to Bria.
Yeah.
But in my zeal, I was pushing towards what I believe. Sure. No, this is what God told us to do.
Sure.
And she was like, I don't know. But her being submitted, she would like, okay, the Lord will reveal it to him in due time.
Yep.
So when it came to like even the decision, like, bro, like I'm, God's gonna have to reveal it to both of us. So this time I know that it is indeed the Lord this time. So that's why it was never like a situation where I'm like, yeah, man, we just gonna jump in because I didn't consider her always when we were pastoring the church.
That was really important to you.
It was more so because like we just can go. 100%. And it's more like, all right, y'all come with me.
Absolutely.
Instead of like us walking beside. That's why I like even on Sundays when y'all do the welcome.
Yeah.
She's standing beside you.
Absolutely.
And it's not for optics. It's like, no, like this is my wife.
Absolutely.
And we're doing this together.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why another reason why this was an easier yes. Well, one, because I knew that it wasn't saying a yes to you guys. It was saying yes to God. Because I just knew that I knew that God called y'all to do this. Like it wasn't just an idea that you guys started or wanted to do. You guys didn't start out saying, I want to be a pastor. This is my lifelong dream.
No, ma'am.
It was God. But then also, like Austin was saying earlier, it was the way that I saw how y'all were leading y'all's life. Like how God was leading y'all's lives. The way that you guys lived. And I'm like, that is more impactful to me than any sermon that I could ever hear because we never went to a church service before we committed to your house.
Okay.
And really didn't go to a lot of the worship clubs. Because we just really had a lot of stuff going on. And I would feel bad about it too. I was like, dang, bro.
No.
Yeah, well, I'll say something to that. Like one of the things I think I was also very intentional on not applying any pressure. Like I don't know if I ever said, I'm not sure if I ever said, I mean, I talked about it from the context of like, this is my brother and I'm letting him know like where I'm at in the journey. But like, I never wanted to put pressure on you as a friend. First of all, because I knew you had people to consider outside of yourself. But number two, what I always tell all of my friends that like, if we're doing anything together, I'm like, hey, make sure that God told you to do this because, you won't always be in honeymoon phases, or I'm not going to always do everything right. And what can hold you when things get difficult is a word from the Lord.
Yeah. Like
that's what can hold you when you're like, when things get difficult. And Bree, you kind of alluded to that. When triggers happen, you can. I remember. No, God called me here. Like it wasn't. This is not just. But the other thing is like I try to be considerate and think about, to your point, Smitty, you kind of made earlier. It's like it is actually much riskier to go into something like this with a friend than it is to go into it with a stranger. It's way riskier. There's a lot more at stake. And so it's the same thing. We got family members who have been coming consistently, but we, I'm talking about like close family members, and I've told all of them. I said, look, we have no entitlement over your life. And that's been really, I think it's been really helpful for us. Yep. I mean, even early on in this process, to not have, it's something we talked about well before we became pastors. We said one of the things we're going to really fight for to the best of our ability and by the power of the Spirit is like to not have a spirit of entitlement over anyone's life, and to constantly keep a big C church mindset. And just because like somebody at some point for whatever reason might decide that this is not the best place for them to grow in their discipleship with Jesus. And just because they leave our gathering, our local assembly, does not mean they left the church as a whole. It does not mean that they are reprobate. It does not mean that they are in rebellion. It and that's
reminding ourselves that they belong to God.
To
They're
God.
not our people. Yeah. So that's been my mindset, because I've seen where when you leave, like literally cut
it's like you dead to me.
It's like, no, we're still like brothers and
sisters in Christ.
Like
see them in the store, be like
different places. So that's one thing. I'm sorry to cut you off. Like I said, babe, please let's make that commitment that like, and we had to do it like.
We've already had to do it. We already had to do it.
Sunday, like people thought were gonna come, and they didn't. And I was like, God, these are your people, and they were like hesitant to tell us. They didn't know how we were gonna treat them. How we gonna take it? And I was like, you don't belong to me. I didn't save you.
And sometimes,
and it's helped my heart, like not to like it hurt, but like not to like be mad.
One of the things I even joke about often is saying that we are our church is like a 6'2" infant. You know what I'm saying? In many ways, and so. And there's good and bad that comes with that. It's like sometimes Marvin's like, dang, y'all that long and there's that many people. But then the other part is like, it's like imagine carrying a 6'2" infant that can't feed themselves, can't walk, and it's like it's nice. It's interesting to look at, but there's like also difficulties to navigating that, right? Yeah. But with that as well, there are some people that because we were a new church plant, they thought it was going to be a small church. And they had left somewhere that was maybe a larger church, and they thought it was going to be like really small, and it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And so with that, some people were like, "I think I'd rather be." This is what I think. There are people that didn't even say this; they didn't even give us reason, but I just think I feel like they want to be somewhere smaller. I feel like, this past week we started for logistical reasons. That's it. We started off gathering in the gym of this school that we gather in now. And we always really wanted to be in the auditorium, but there were other logistics like storage, like parking, like HVAC. Like there's a bunch of different logistics that was stopping us from doing that. And we finally moved in this week. And it was really exciting in a lot of ways. But there were several people that were straight up triggered. People on our team because they had been a part of church plants that met in auditoriums. And when we were in the gym, they were fine. But because it looked similar to another, scenario they had been in before, it was like, and I'm like, why? I'm looking, I'm like, they seem off. Like, what's going on? And I start having a conversation after. It was like, people were straight up triggered. And it's like something we're thinking we're walking to. I remember having a conversation. Are we good? It's saying no switcher connected. Are we good?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'll keep going. So I even remember having a conversation with a couple, and I remember saying, I want to hear more about your story. I want to know more about your story. Or the purpose of the conversation is to figure out, are there wounds or triggers that I can be aware of so that we can avoid and we can love you well? And I particularly remember they had a hard time telling us, like, whatever. And it kind of was revealed later in the conversation that a previous pastor asked them the same question, and they used the intricate parts of their story against them. And I'm sitting here like, bro, I'm trying to be pastoral and a human, and even that can be a trigger. You know what I'm saying? And, so anyway, it's just so my point is just it is an interesting process. It is an interesting process, and there's been this phrase that's been just playing through my head for the last couple of weeks, and it's like who told us that healing doesn't hurt?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
In what scenario ever in life has there been a wound and the process of healing didn't hurt?
Listen.
Listen.
See, healing sounds amazing in theory.
Yeah.
But healing in real life and practice, healing happens in stages. And the majority of those stages actually hurt.
That's good, bro. Because to that point, man, like, you know, one of the spaces I worked in is with athletes.
Yeah.
And in the athletic industry, a non-negotiable in that space is trust. Once trust is lost,
it's over.
You done ski.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the truth about trust is, whether it be with athletes, but in the context of this, and just with people in general, trust is acquired in drops, but it's lost in gallons.
Yes.
And to your point, with like healing, there have been individuals, including ourselves, people that are part of our community, who have lost a lot of trust in gallons.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to make a decision, even with what you have lost, that you're going to trust not new people. Yeah. Because the reality is, there are going to be times you're going to disappoint me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, you're a human being.
Yeah.
There's going to be times in our community where people are going to be offended with one another.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if we try to dance around not trying to do it, then we're trying to assume a position that doesn't belong to us.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so even in the new journey of healing and trusting again, I tell our staff members, you know, trust requires you to put a deposit in the bank. And it's gonna accrue interest over time, but you got to put something in the bank.
That's really good.
If you don't put anything in the bank, don't expect anything off of that interest.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can say, man, I really want to try community again. Well, somebody's gonna ask you hey, can I have your number? You know what I'm saying? Somebody's gonna ask you, man, can we get lunch? Somebody's gonna ask you to do something that reminds you of something before.
Else,
And the reality is, we have to trust the Lord that, again, yes, they have the ability to hurt me again. And here's the thing we don't talk about, because we love to talk about everyone else being the villain. But I know for sure there are times where I've started as the villain in other people's story as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
You know,
100%.
unintentionally.
Right.
Asking people when I was passionate to do stuff that they didn't have the capacity to do. But because of a point of desperation that we were in during the pandemic, I'm just trying to make things happen, not realizing that people just don't have it.
Absolutely.
So now I have mismanaged expectations and frustrated with people and bitter towards people who's like, bro, I don't have it. I'm trying to survive.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So yeah, man, it's a journey, man, that requires a lot of intentionality.
Yes.
It requires trusting the Lord step by step. But I think one of the themes of the journey for all of us in this healing and just trying church again and community is just surrender as well.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And look, here's the thing. Again, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but the reality is we are often hurt in the context of community.
Yep.
But we are also healed in the context of community.
Yeah.
And the reality is this. It's like you sort of alluded to this just now, but like the reality is no relationship with depth, with any depth, or meaning happens without vulnerability.
Yeah.
And so your instinct is when you are hurt, like, cause we need to like actually truly understand what a true trigger and what a true, a trigger is a symptom of a trauma. And so your brain and your body is like, I felt that pain, I don't ever want to feel that again.
Yeah.
So if anything even resembles what we just went through, then it's like your body is just like, no, red alert. Sometimes when there's nothing there, when there is no danger there, right? Yeah. But the reality is that's the part that's so crazy about it, where you have to rely on God, like where you have to truly, you have to root yourself in Christ, because you cannot get what you're truly looking for, because you think you are protecting yourself, but you're actually hurting yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's like one of my favorite pastimes is seeing how science and data are catching up with stuff that God already told us to do in Scripture. It's one of our favorite things to do. It's like they were like, "Hey, did you know that resting one day out of the week, leads to better production and da da da?" And it was just like, yeah, that's called Sabbath. God Ben said that. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's like, did you know that people that spend 2 hours a week in meaningful conversation with other friends, like, you know what I mean? It's like bruh, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he Ben said that,
been on that,
and he designed us that way. And the reality is, we are biologically, anatomically not designed to live in isolation. Mm-hmm. You're only fooling yourself if you think you can do this thing alone. Yep. And that doesn't mean what that doesn't mean is although I think I saw Pastor Rich Velotis, who is fantastic, kind of said this. He says, you might not heal in the community that hurt you, but you need to be in somebody's community somewhere.
Somebody's, man. Yeah.
And there is the reality. One of the things I think that's important to differentiate, we were kind of talking about this offline earlier, but it's like, just because you're attending a church gathering doesn't mean you're living in community. Yep. Right? Some people actually pick churches on purpose. They don't have a high emphasis on connection, community, discipleship, because I can slide in, slide out, and then I'm good. And at the end of the day, I just want to encourage, whoever's listening to this, you're only fooling yourself. Yeah. You ain't fooling nobody but yourself, and you're not helping yourself. So, at a certain point, you have to trust the Lord and use discernment. Yeah. Use discernment, but I just really believe the Spirit will lead you and guide you exactly where you're supposed to go.
That's good, bro. That's good. So we've throughout this conversation, we've talked about, y'all's story, the context. Yeah. We've had this theme of it's not about the destination. Yeah. It's about the journey. But on the journey, it has stops that, one can say are maybe targets or things that you're looking forward to. Mm-hmm. And I know it's getting late. You got to get back to the kids. So I want to be able to land the plane. But as you guys, I know it's still early in this pastoral journey. In this context, you've been pastoring since you were born.
Oh my gosh!
Call both of y'all. Listen, but what are you guys? What are you guys excited about when it comes to? Because it's like marriage. When people tell you, "Hey man," or you tell somebody, "Man, I'm about to get married," "Oh, it's work, doc. You better get ready." Right. Hey, bro, okay. What is good about marriage? Yeah. What I'm saying? Is it gonna be work all the time, or are we gonna laugh and have fun? You know what I'm saying?
Can I tap that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
This real quick. I'm not gonna spend a long time, and I really, truly not. Okay. And that's not trauma. I really mean it. Yeah. I like to use it. I don't even like to use the language work. Because work feels like something that you are forced to do. Maybe even by necessity, or even if you don't want to. I think I like to say marriage takes effort. It takes intentional effort. See, you can put effort towards something you want to do.
Yeah.
But I just don't like the connotation of it's work. You know what I mean? Because it's almost negative. Yeah. But if you have a business or a dream or something, you put effort towards. I mean, even your, I'll see even you, Bria. I know you like to get into you gotta get the green thumb and you like planning things. It's that's something that's technically a hobby for you. You have to put effort towards that hobby. Smitty, when you go and play basketball, once a week, you're doing that for the fun of it. But you still have to put effort towards something that you even do. So anyway, my point is, it takes intentional effort. And some of the best advice I got was from a pastor that said, marriage is like a garden. And gardens don't keep themselves. So even if the garden looks perfectly kept, right, and the mulch is hidden, and the thing, it's at a certain point, weeds will come, small rodents and animals will try to come. It's like, and so if you don't keep the lawn, if you don't keep the garden, if you don't constantly pull something out and protect it and feed it and whatever, then like it won't be a beautiful garden. Yeah. But if you just say, man, this looks so nice, and you just like you never touch the garden again, it's gonna look like a forest. It's gonna be chaos. So nothing. My point is, nothing left unattended leads to order.
That's good.
Everything left unattended always lends itself towards chaos. And so that's why I like to say marriage takes intentional effort. I don't like to call it work. I'm done.
No, you good, man. Good. You good. That's good. You would say something? So with if we're using that analogy in this journey of just, pastoring and what is now Hill House and just all the new, I remember when I first started following Kira on Instagram, she had a hashtag, which I still think is true even more now. It's winning season.
Oh, yeah.
So, creating a culture within not just a church, but creating a culture of your life where you celebrate, because, again, it's going to take effort. But you also, I remember you telling me just with ministry, you don't have to be a martyr.
Amen.
Like, that was Jesus.
Amen.
Wow.
Now, in the context, we understand, context, other countries.
Yes.
Because, some people are like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But you can enjoy ministry.
Yes.
Amen.
I just want to hear from you guys, and then maybe there's anything you want to share. Just what are you guys excited about, when it comes to this new season of y'all's life that has finally come into fruition? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? Like, what are you dreaming about? What are the things that just what are you excited about? You want
to go first, baby?
Sure. I'm excited to see people give church another chance. Like people who are like done. Like I'm excited, and I've seen it. Like people who are like over church and like they're like looking forward to coming and like praising God every Sunday, and like they're like, oh, I'm about to start serving. Like that's how hype I am about it. So just seeing people like just come back to the faith, like just getting restored, just having joy again about being at a gathering has been very rewarding to see. Just me like trusting community again. I'm excited about that. Like I still have a few like reservations, but like I can see that like my guard slowly like coming down. So I'm excited just to see like how God uses community like just to build His kingdom.
That's really good. Yeah, for me, I would just say kind of similar. Number one, I'm excited about the stories. I'm excited to see like how God is about to write some stories. How He's gonna like connect people. Like one day, somebody's gonna be like, I met my husband or my wife at Hill House.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna be like, I didn't have a job. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a job, and I met someone and found a job. Like, you know what I mean? Somebody, I love the testimonies and the stories and watching how God writes a story. And I'm intrigued about the way that God is gonna surprise us. Yeah. Like with, I think we've all like ended up at different phases or places of our journey, and we're like, how in the heck did this happen? How did we like I would have never dreamed of a scenario like that. How did we end up here? So I'm excited to see that. And also I'm just like, to be honest, I'm kind of excited to break some stereotypes. I love breaking stereotypes. One of the things, I get told a lot of stuff, and I get a lot of great advice from pastors, and I get some really bad advice too. But like, one of the things that we asked our core team early and often was like, we were like, we are leading this church out of submission to the Lord.
Yeah.
We're actually not that hyped about that part. But we're excited. We're really excited to be a part of this church. So will y'all allow us, like, please, by all means, respect us, honor us, because we're going to respect you and honor you.
Yeah.
But don't rob us of the opportunity of participating as disciples in this church too. Just because we've been anointed as leaders in this community, like, we also want to be a part of it. We want to reap the benefits, and that's a part of the martyrdom that I've always associated ministry of, like, even when we were early on, it was like, oh yeah, okay, I know what's gonna happen. Like, I'm gonna suffer and other people are gonna experience healing.
Yeah.
Because of my suffering.
Yeah.
And what I did not see coming is us experiencing healing in this community. And it's been beautiful watching that happen.
Yeah.
And lastly, what I wanted to like a callback to the beginning of the conversation, I told you, this would have been almost 20 years ago that, again, Kira's church split and everybody went in different directions. And now, a lot, maybe 60 to 70% of those people, including family members, have all now, reconverged at Hill House. And she gets the opportunity now to, gather with her mom, with her sister, with her dad, with her cousins, like whatever, a lot of these same folk under the roof of our gathering. Also something I did not see coming.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I know we need to wrap up.
Yeah, you good.
I went to it wasn't like a conference, it was like a one night women's event. And the speaker there was kind of going through, like, prophesying over people. And then the service ended, and in the lobby, she was like, made eye contact with me, and she was like, yeah, and God said, like, your healing is going to come through your yes. And so, like, I've been going through, like, some skin things, like something going on with my skin, like, for a decade at least. And that's what I'm thinking, like, she told me that, but I had no idea it was going to be, like, healing from, like,
inside out.
Yeah, that part.
We believe in God for that too.
Yeah, and then just thinking about how my yes, like, is bringing, not my yes, but, like, because I said yes to God, that opened the door for so many other people to receive their healing in different ways. Like, and so that just brings me back again, like, it's bigger than me. Like, it's not, it wasn't even about me. And I feel like I know now, like, that's why the enemy fought me so hard, because our marriage was like, because I was saying no, okay, it's like, yes, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. And I see now, like, the enemy saw, like, he sees what, like, and I'm just thankful that God, like, not only, like, waited patiently for my yes, but still accepted my yes. I'm just very thankful, like, just for what I see every Sunday. I'm so thankful that I gave God, like, yes, God, let's do this. You do this, but use me. I'm very thankful. Very thankful. Very thankful.
Anything you want to share, baby?
I think when it comes to people who are searching or who are trying church again, to be careful what you're looking for and just to be open-minded, because I feel like if you go into a church looking for the errors or looking for your past or looking for the trauma, then you probably won't find it.
You're going to find it. That's right.
But if you
it's there.
you will always be able to find some type of flaw, right? Because nothing is perfect. But if you are going into a new church searching for God, if you're going in there searching for healthy community, then you can also find it. So you have to just be aware, be open-minded, and just keep your eyes focused on God.
And I think I'll pick up where you left off to land it, to share in the excitement with our family, our pastors. I'm excited to be able to walk in the reality of a prayer that probably wasn't even prayed, because in one season I had allowed bitterness in my heart to make vows that I couldn't even comprehend what I was saying out of my hurt. God, I would never put myself in this situation again. God, I will never do this to my family again. God, I will never. And in that, if you know me, like you were laughing earlier, I make friends with anybody. Make friends with a tree. But I think it's how God's wired me to just be like a shepherd. No matter what pasture I find myself in. And my heart had got hurt. Yes. So much that I felt it changing me. Like we laugh, like if you text me, I'll text you back. And I started like leaving people on red because I'm like, that's real. I'm good. I tiptoed around, making decisions out of fear of like putting her through it again. And now to be in a fresh season, a new season where we had literally, all right, Lord, you can have this. I don't know what's next. And honestly, I don't care about what's next. All I care about is, are our bills paid? And are we happy? And are my children out of the hospital? And to see God exceed, I don't even say my expectations because they were so low. But to go beyond my comprehension of what I didn't even know to pray for. Wow. So what does that look like practically? Like to look forward to Sundays again?
Yes, sir.
Bro.
Like what?
That's real, bro.
To walk in, because I have the honor of like just doing life with my brother on Sundays. That's how I look at it.
Yep.
I got his back.
Absolutely. Touch on that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you touch on that.
It back.
And so if we drive separate, and I see my like my boys like walking in the church, like with my wife's happy, man. And they're like, daddy, like, they're excited to like go to church. Like, we going to church, and they sing us songs, and like to be able to sit in a church again and not be triggered. Where like I can take notes, and it's like I can be fed and like be locked in and not being worried about being on guard and being on post and being just I'm being. I'm excited to build relationships and already seeing that and building relationships with the guys in the church, and I feel like Austin is not even just being Austin again, but it's like a new Austin where it's like it's not forced. Where I can just like flow in who God's made me to be, freely. I'll say this last thing. There's just so many things that like I'm excited about. And this is just like in the infancy stage of the church. So like, I already know God's gonna do things, but it's gonna go beyond our expectation. So I'm excited about the stories and everything. There's a picture that was posted on Instagram, and then Kara, I want you to land the plane for us. Where people don't understand like how significant that picture was. And Kay knows, but like there's a picture of us, and we're praising God, and behind me, like in like kind of like from an angle, there's 2 rows of people within the whole gathering. What people don't realize is those 2 rows of people were people who used to be a part of our church.
Oh wow!
So when we entered the church, the fear that I had was similar to yours. Like I'm going to be the reason why people walk away from the Lord, because they had their hope and trusted another pastor that dropped them. And we had people like that where like I reached out and it's just no.
Oh my goodness.
So forgiving yourself for that, but to look at that picture as a testimony of God's faithfulness, that literally the last sermon that we preached for our service, our gathering at that time, was nothing is wasted. And now to look at that picture and say, oh God, you really don't waste the ingredients. Nothing is wasted. That's what I'm excited about. Because like, if he's done all of this, and it hasn't even been, we're only in March.
Yeah, ain't even 2 months yet.
Excuse me? You know what I mean? Just knowing like you said, like he's doing all these things at one time, and you don't even have.
I just need to say real quick. You said the phrase "forgive yourself." But I don't think there's something to apologize about. Success in the kingdom of heaven is obedience. And so I believe that you were obedient for what you were called to do, for the season you were called to do it. What you would have need to apologize for is if you continued when God said it's time to shift. So I think your language needs to shift from I need to forgive myself to, I understand how that might make you feel.
Really good.
But I did what God told me to do. And so what if, like, can you imagine shifting in your mind to seeing it as if like you were successful? Like, could you actually believe that was not failure? It was success. Because how many times, bro, have we seen people 2 decades beyond the assignment being over? And now and just imagine this, bro, that even in your everyday job right now, you were in the field of learning and development. It's like, which is the conversation we had several times at Cracker Barrel. It's like, you never stop pastoring. You changed where you pastored.
Yeah, seriously.
You changed location. But the call is always on your life, and you're one of the best pastors I've ever been around in my life. I'm not saying that to gas you. It's just true. You're one of the best shepherds I've ever been around in my life. I know a lot of them. And so I just want to present to you to begin shifting in your mind. It's not God giving you grace for a failure. No. Like, what if God was like, good job. You did what I told you to do, and not a day longer than I told you to do it. Now, do the next thing I told you to do. And what if you're the one that's successful? And what if there's a person right now with a 1,000-member church that God doesn't see as successful? That's all I got to say about that.
I think that landed the plane, but I just want to honor you for the way you honor KJ. Like being a lead pastor, like you've humbled yourself, like to, I hate to use the word serve, but to honor him the way you do every Sunday. Like you get there early. Bruh. You greet us when we arrive, bro. Like I appreciate you. Thank you for that. And like I see you shepherding.
God don't see that?
Bro. Like having to leave, like you want to do, like you want to come with your wife, but you're like, thank you. Thank you.
God
and you're
making
doing
an account of that?
Yeah. And you're doing it with your whole heart and not to show like, and you don't even announce like that, like I was a lead pastor, but you're still pastoring. Like I see it. Most importantly, God sees it. Like I've seen how you interact with different people, and you're touching people who KJ may not be able to touch.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you both. Thank you for
sharing both of y'all have to understand that, like, you are the manifestation of a prophecy.
Yes.
We were straight up told.
That's right.
God is going to send people.
That's right.
Near you in this process that you trust.
That we trust.
And
to make it easy.
It's going to be a process. Do we look like people that are stressed to you right now?
That is so true.
Like, we're walking, first of all, through the grace of God, but God has graced us with friends like you who get it. Because I think God knew that the assignment was going to be a unique one. And so imagine if you're somewhere you weren't supposed to be right now. Success. He's well pleased with you both.
Yes.
He's well pleased. You're dearly beloved, and he's pleased with you both. Both of you. And I'm not saying that because we benefit from that in this season. You know what I mean? Right. But you got to understand. You are the manifestation. You are the manifestation of a promise from God for us. And at a certain point, we were wondering, well, who's that going to be?
Because trust was not my thing.
And then God, and this is how God does, because the whole thing is about reliance and intimacy on Him. And then I had a vision in my mind of who that was going to be. And then God called them. Said, nope, I got to assign it for you. And they're being successful where they at right now. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
So yeah, like, you were successful because you were obedient. That takes a lot of courage too. It takes a lot of courage to obey God when it doesn't look.
When it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, when it doesn't make sense.
To you.
Yeah. And that's the thing about obedience. Like, God does not require understanding. Understanding what God is doing is not a prerequisite to obeying Him. Good talk.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at our gate.
Right.
Please buckle your seatbelt. The plane has landed.
The plane has landed. You hear me? Thank you guys.
Thank y'all for having us.
I made the joke earlier about tissue and
we were doing so good.
Nah, he the one.
that thing that crept up on me. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you for sacrificing even time tonight on a Friday.
Wouldn't miss it, man.
But I strongly believe this conversation that's gonna be broken up. It's gonna
into 6 parts.
Right.
Y'all done helped us out, Doc. We don't got
Netflix series.
We don't got record. We don't got record.
This whole season.
Growing in love with the Scriven. But like,
I really enjoyed it.
We appreciate, man, y'all's vulnerability, y'all's transparency, just walking us on the journey. For those, again, who are wondering, what does God say about church? We've touched on scripture, but I hope, like the Bible says, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I hope you've seen that. I truly believe deliverance comes in many ways, but sometimes one of the ways that we least expect, it comes in through dialogue. And that's happened tonight. So thank you to you guys, our family, for sharing the couch with us. For those in the Charlotte area, Metro, if you are looking for a place to call home, there are many churches in the region, but we believe that there is a church potentially for you, and that's Hill House Community Church. We meet at 7030 Nations Ford Road with a 9 a.m. and 11:15 gathering, and we got a seat ready for you. There's space for you,
and your kids,
and your children. 9 not for where you want to be, but exactly where you are right now.
Wow.
So pull up on us, and maybe you can get a little bit of this in the gathering. But thank you guys for watching, listening. Make sure you share this, subscribe. But seriously, give this to someone who needs hope in why to try church again. What does God say about it? Well, I think he had a lot to say about it tonight. And we hope that this bless you. So we love you as always. Stay growing, keep going, and we'll see you next time.